All right, we are recording. So, yes, this is going to be a very casual team call slash hybrid of a power hour. So, this is a slow month. Maybe you guys are feeling it too, the last few months actually. So, I started off really slow last month, but I got to SC 18. And it just shows that you got to follow up, you got to do the invites, and you got to make those connections. So, what we're going to do first before we go into that power hour, Nicole and I thought we would go ahead and answer just some of the questions that have been asked in the team page. I know Stephanie asked how, because she's getting the same people that are viewing her stories on Instagram. And so she was wondering any tips of how she can grow that and what she can do about that. So Nicole, do you want to take it over?
Yeah. First, I wanted to say, I don't know if you guys listened to Melanie Mitro's podcast, Women Inspiring Women, but she kind of had the same thoughts I did in the sense that, like, when you look at your calendar for December, like now till like the 18th or 19th are the times when you really want to be continuing to like start up conversations, maybe thank your customers, invite people. They might still purchase right now. I'm having people that are interested, and we have a coach info. My team has a coach info session going on right now, and I'm having a decent amount of people interested in coaching right now. So don't completely like take your foot off the gas and think, it's not, it might as well not bother. But what I'm doing personally, and what Melanie also recommended, is like around the 19th or 20th, things get slow. And so that's a time to like recharge your own batteries and like take your foot off a little bit. And like I booked a massage on Monday when I had my babysitter and was like, I'm gonna like treat myself and enjoy, because I've been putting in a lot of hard work, and spend time with family. I made like a list of things I want to do. And obviously, like when you work in a corporate job, you get like designated time off. And when you're in a business like this, it can feel like there's like a never ending to-do list. And especially this time of year when you have a bunch of other stuff on your plate. So I just recommend, if you're going to like definitely reserving some time off, and that obviously is going to depend on your own family's like travel schedule and whatever. But I do think that after Christmas happens, that is like a pretty big week after Christmas, like the 26th through maybe not the 26th, but I start like sprinkling in on the 26th, and then maybe starting doing invites on the 27th through like the new year. Cause that is going to be your time that people are going to want to are going to be thinking about what they want to do next. So be doing those invites, talking a lot. I'm doing 2 groups in January, like a multi-program group starting on the 6th. And then I'm doing the bar blend group on the 13th. So I'm planning to like relax and then pick it back up. But then Melanie said on the call, she was like, I challenge you to hit your goal by the 19th so that you can go into the holidays relaxed. And then whatever happens after the holidays is like bonus, right? So that inspired me, because to be honest, I was totally like, well, I know that a lot of sales come in that last week, so I'm going to maybe take my foot off a little bit. But now I'm like, no, I want to hit like at least Success Club 10 in my account by the 19th, so that, yeah, I can relax a little bit. Because like she said, like you're just going to hear, like people are just busy. They're not on social media as much. They're still scrolling, but they're not going to be like engaging with you as much during those, like the 19th through Christmas. So I actually did think of a little bit about Stephanie's question, because I know a lot of people are feeling this way. I've heard in general that like stories views are down. But honestly, I think if you're seeing the same people watching your stories all the time, that's a sign to me that a few things, that you aren't finding new followers and that you aren't engaging with new people, because they're not just going to magically find you. They will, some will, but I think if you're seeing the same people on your stories all the time, that means that you aren't spending the time in your power hour every day finding new followers. Because when you go to follow someone new, a lot of times what they do is go back to your profile, and a lot of times they click on your stories and look at you before they decide to follow you. And so if you're not seeing a lot of new people showing up, that means that you're not doing the work to find new followers. And that also means that you're probably not creating engaging stories if you're not seeing growth. Or, I mean, to be totally frank, I haven't seen a ton of growth. Mine like swings quite a bit. In the sense that like when I do something, like I've noticed that when I do a really engaging post or I do stories that are engaging, mine goes up quite a bit, and then it'll go back down when I'm not as engaging. Do you notice that too, Kelly?
Yeah, I was going to say that like right when I announced that we were pregnant, of course, it was like all of a sudden I probably had an extra 200 views on my stories for a good 2 weeks. And then it's kind of gone back to where it was before. So it's interesting. It's like sometimes I'm like, okay, well, what is it? They were really intrigued for that. And so they were watching me and then they were like, not so interested anymore. Um, I mean, I don't know. So I personally think that yes, you have to always be adding value. Like, and you can do polls. And I did this a while ago, not polls for like, hey, do you want to join me? Polls where you can say, like maybe just a picture of you and say, I really want to serve my audience best. So I'm just wondering, or what do you want to know more? What do you want to know about me or want to know more about me? Or what do you love that I share on here? Is it fitness or nutrition? Recipes or meal prep? And so then you can get an idea of, or like mom life, maybe people want to know about your marriage and how you like handle it if your husband's working all the time, or stuff like that. So I did that about 3 months ago, and I had a really it made me realize, wow, a lot of people follow me to see what I eat, and people want to know what I eat on the daily. So it's like sometimes I realize like, oh gosh, I'm not really doing that because I feel like food pics can be so boring, and I don't like to share a lot of food pics in my main feed. But in my stories, I think people do like to know, okay, well, what is it that you're eating? I want to see how you're incorporating the containers, or how you're making healthier choices. So I always feel like if you are sharing value, and you have to just reevaluate that too, and kind of like maybe ask someone on our team and say, hey, do you want to like maybe pick someone else who's in the same boat as you and just say, hey, will you take a peek at my stories, give me some feedback? I would do the same for you, because obviously I am not looking at all my coaches' stories. I just can't. I love supporting everyone when I can and giving them love and, a comment here and there. And, but, I would recommend that. Maybe that's something that we do, is just like pick a partner and say, hey, let's just give me some feedback. But I also think too that in order to get your views up higher on stories, you have to be sharing value as well in your main feed, because your main feed is like, hey, come look behind. If you like what you see here, come behind the scenes and watch me. And it's always, like Nicole said, it's like the algorithm can be so, there's no answer to that really, of like, okay, this is exactly what you need to do to grow, people watching your stories. I just think it's a matter of staying consistent and mixing it up by being funny, sharing real life stuff, but also sharing fitness and sharing a lot of stuff that you're maybe not sharing on your main feed.
Yeah. And I mean, when I was doing a little bit of research, is like a good point that they made in general was like, Instagram is they don't charge us as users. So they basically make money by keeping people on Instagram longer. So because they want you to be on Instagram longer, they want you to watch stories of people that they think that they want you to engage with the app as long as possible. So they're very incentivized to put whatever content they think you're going to consume in front of you as soon as possible. So that's why you need your content to be engaging, because Instagram's going to say, this content is good. This is going to cause people to stay on the app longer, and it's going to show it to more people. So like, be thinking about what you're putting out there. And if it's like, do you want to actually watch what you're watching? Like, I haven't been doing as many workout videos lately because I've been like, do people really need to see that every single day? Like, I don't know if they do. I want to show that I've been doing a workout, but I don't know if it necessarily has to be like a video every day. Not to mention, I think that sometimes people might be intimidated by coaching because they're like, do I need to take this long series of videos every single day of myself? And other things in general that you can do to grow your Instagram stories is to make sure you're like tagging people in your stories if it's relevant, or even brands. And then always like using location. This is the same with your main posts. Like if you're at Target, going at Target and tagging the Target, because you could end up in the Target feed or whatever. And using hashtags even in your things, but also just doing like polls, not about fitness. Like I do a lot of things where like I strike up like basically Instagram, like if you do a poll and like 100, so I get like 100 people respond to it, that shows Instagram that those 100 people want to see more of what I'm doing. So I can do a poll like about something completely unrelated to fitness, and that helps my engagement, and those people want to come back to me. That makes sense. So like going back to the whole thing is like, again, if you're not seeing new people watching your stories, that's a huge sign that you're just not, you're basically not spending the time finding new people who want to go back and look at your stuff.
Yeah. And I also will say this too, that's helped me, is every now and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I am not looking at a lot of people's stories. Like I always see the same, like 10 people on my top. So I will scroll all the way, like on the top of stories, and just, I think Nicole said this a while ago, where she's like, sometimes if I'm just like getting breakfast ready or doing something, we'll just leave stories going. And like, for example, like you just you just turn it on, or, you know, click on someone, and it's just going to go through it, and it's going to go to the next person and the next person. So you can literally leave your phone like this on the table and be like, okay, I'm going to do laundry. I'm going to do, oh, just Penny, not my kids. And, you know, like, hey, that will get other people to be like, oh, she's watching my stories. I don't really know if like the normal person out there is scrolling up to see like who's watching their stories. But I also think that you need to be commenting on people's stories just as much as you're commenting on their main posts. In fact, I think sometimes that's even more important and easier to do, is to comment on people's stories. Like, even if it's just like a heart, like so cute, or a smiley face, that's so easy to do. And then it makes them see you, and then they might go back to your page.
Yeah. Agree. And I also like have heard in general, like you want to do at least 4 stories a day, and ideally you want them to be at like 4 different, if you're going to only do 4, you want them to be at like different times of the day, which triggers people to like you show up in the beginning of their feed again.
Yeah. And going back to what you said, Nicole, about you got to put yourself, not the whole point of this, right? You are here to make a steady income and you want to grow a team, then you have to also make it look like what you're doing is simple, and that people can go, I can see myself in what Kelly's doing. But if I feel like she's recording every little thing of her day, or wow, making it really fancy and doing this, like people might be intimidated by that. And not even the fact that you might have done a really good job with the presentation, and they might love the fact of what you stand for and love following you. But if you want to get people on your team, which is the goal, right? Then sometimes it's like what Nicole said, like sometimes I love sharing my fitness. Like that to me is just something I love doing. So I do that a lot, but I also have to realize it's okay if I don't speed it up. It's okay if I don't do XYZ on it. Just keep it simple, and maybe just do like 2 clips of it, or just choose days when you want it to be more like, okay, Tuesday, Thursday, those are my days that I'm doing a type of video, and my other days are just going to be more simple because I'm running out the door and it's just hectic. Just don't make yourself stressed, because I've learned that I need to figure out some mornings I'm not up at the crack of dawn and I'm rushing out the door to get my kids to school, and I don't even touch my phone until I get home, and it's like 10 in the morning, which is fine. But I just wanted to add that part. Always think of people like your audience, not just as challengers, but people that are maybe considering coaching, and they're kind of hopefully seeing themselves in you and going, maybe I can do what she does.
So Catherine also asked, how do we keep challengers engaged during this time of year? I feel like that if you took some of the stuff that people are putting in that nutrition group, because I feel like that group's been pretty engaged, hasn't it? My groups have been pretty engaged. I don't know. What do you think, Kelly?
Like the new one, everyone's really engaged. It's a bigger group, and the work one is kind of dead. I'm with Jessica and Catherine. I feel like it's like us constantly, and then you have like a few people here and there, and I've checked in with them. And some people, you guys, and I'll say it again, what were you like as a challenger? Were you sharing your shake? Were you sharing your workout? Because if you weren't, don't think that just because they're not doesn't mean that they're still not watching. Because if they're still asking to be in your groups continuously, there's a reason for that. It's just a slower time. Some people just don't end up looking and clicking on the app like we do, because we know it's part of our job. I mean, it is our job. We feel like, oh my God, I haven't shared my Shakeology today. Oh, where if I was just a challenger, sometimes I would be like, oh, it's not a big deal. No, like I love logging, but I don't really need to engage. And I think just make sure that you're checking in on them one-on-one, because I know that's really helpful for me. So I can be like, hey, what's going on? You haven't been participating. You're worrying me. I hope you're okay. And they actually really appreciate that. They're like, thank you so much. I can't believe out of all your challengers, you're reaching out to me. So that's one thing that I would do. And then of course say, if you want to start fresh, I hope you join me in the new year. I know this time is really busy. Don't pressure them. Like, why aren't you participating? What's going on? Because you have to remember they're not a coach. They're just here for their own self and journey. But if you want them to continue in the new year, then yeah, I would definitely be like, oh my gosh, yes, I understand this year is busy and hectic. I just want to make sure that I'm being the best coach and giving you the best support and tools. So if you're good, great.
Yeah, I definitely think that in general, my groups are more engaged when I'm engaged and into it. So if you're like sharing, if you're doing the nutrition plan, you're like, I had this win today. Like we had, cookies at the party and I didn't have them. Whereas I'm like over here eating the cookies, but maybe you could say that too. Like I had cookies. And yeah, I agree that it's a busy time. Like I'm even forgetting to log into my challenge group until like 4:00 some days. And I'm like, shoot. So I think it's a busy time of year. And I just checked in with a girl who was like, I know I'm not logging at all, but I read everything and I'm really appreciate it. So it depends.
Yeah. And you can't be too hard on yourself. If you feel like, gosh, I just feel like people are just not motivated or they're having a hard time, it's all internal. Maybe you need to say, hey, have you ever considered reading or listening to The Compound Effect? Because I think that's a good one, not just for our business, but I think it just shows that if they do need help with the mindset and with like developing healthier habits in general, maybe that personal development could be for them too. So if there's like a few books that you guys recommend, I don't know what else I would like. The Compound Effect, I think it's good for challengers. Is there one that you would recommend, any of you guys, or have you?
I like You Are a Badass. I feel like generally people like that one. I've had people read the one that you gave me, Catherine. The what was it called? I like that one. I've had friends read that even.
Yourself.
Yeah.
Get out of your head, get into your life. Yeah, I've given that book away to lots of people. Yeah. That's a good one. And Kelly, I just started the 12-week year. And I feel like there's a lot of correlation between not just that as a business model, but as a fitness model too, in terms of some of the mindset pieces. And I mean, I'm only about 8 or 9 chapters into it, so I haven't finished it yet. But that's a good one too. I really am enjoying that one quite a bit.
Yeah, me too.
There's also another one. If you have challengers who love the potty mouth version of that, it's written by a woman from Canada. It's called Healthy as Fuck, and it's hilarious. And it's a quick read, and she writes basically the way it sounds, and it's and there's like 5 to 8 steps on what to do, and it's everything that we talk to people about doing, but she just delivers it in a bam direct manner. So I don't know, it's a good one too.
Right, yeah.
Catherine also asked, for all of those of you who have done this for years, is there a switch in mindset early January? Does it take a few weeks? So I have to I just read this, think about it, but honestly, I keep saying, hammering it in, that what you did in November and December will pay off in January. So last January, I had a great month because I was I did this training in November and December, and I was really focusing on recruiting, and I had a great month in January, in terms of coaches, bringing on coaches. But the year before, I was pregnant with the twins, and I feel like I didn't have as much momentum. 80-Day Obsession came out, so that helped. But I remember thinking that it's not like it's just going to fall in your lap, that people are going to come and be like, yes, if you have to have laid the foundation for it to be a great January. It's not like people are just magically going to show up. Some people will, but your January will depend on what you've been doing. So I did find last year for my niche, which is probably upper middle class women, the Peloton was my big competitor. I would say, I got a Peloton for Christmas. I'm like, okay, but do you do strength training with your Peloton? so a lot of people were like, I just did that, so I'm going to see how it goes. And I honestly feel like March is like probably one of the best months. I don't know what you think, Kelly. I feel like that's always been a good month for me, where people are getting ready for like swimsuit season also. But yeah, don't expect like a tidal wave, but it's definitely momentum starts in January for sure. And I think like definitely like having the conversations now, like what are you thinking about doing in the new year? Have you thought about what you're doing in the new year? Is going to help your January, because a lot of people do start thinking about it now or right after the holidays. And some people have already decided. I just like discovered when I did a lot of inviting last January, people were like, I'm already did this. I already decided to do this.
Yeah, like I would even consider now your message to people. I mean, you want to hit Success Club now, but I feel like to keep it, if you're hearing like, oh, I just don't want to spend the extra money right now, or I'm not really interested, or I'm going to wait for the new year, then I would kind of change your verbiage to them and just be like, hey, I want to make sure that I want to be the girl that you come to when the new year hits. So I would love to, I have a new group starting in January, which I'm like, Nicole, I'm going to be doing 2 groups, but I'm talking about that now. Like I'm messaging people saying, hey, let's do a soft start now. And that way you can get acclimated and I can throw you into my current group. But the pressure is off. Like you don't have to be super strict, but why not get started and familiarize yourself with the programs. And I'll give you my top workouts, which we have in our boot camp, like that workout list. And we also posted that workout list in the coach apprenticeship group, which, you know, I like all those workouts. So if you feel like, well, I don't really have a group that I'm inviting to, because Kim and I were saying that. We were like, gosh, it's just, I don't know, it's because I don't have a group like in a 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's not till the new year, that maybe that's kind of why I don't have like my foot on the pedal as much. But after hearing Melanie Mitro too, because I think she had a call like that last year on her what's it called? On her page or whatever she does, podcasts, God. She said the same thing. She was like, don't be stressed around the holidays, enjoy yourself, but make sure that you're putting in the work on the days that you can, and then pick it up on the 27th. And that's when people are like, okay, yes, I am ready. Even though they ignored you maybe between last month and now, people are going to start thinking about a game plan and what they want to be doing. So kind of be thinking about some posts that you want to do, and also in your stories, how you're going to want to sprinkle in like maybe a story of your whole transformation, sharing like, this is who I was before, and this is what has developed and changed in me, not only physically, but mentally. And then, you know, hopefully people will be like, all right, I'm in. I'm sold.
Yeah, I highly recommend sending, even if you don't want to use MailChimp or any like a free email service, just even sending an email to all of your existing contacts. You can go into your back office. If you haven't been keeping track of them, you can go into your back office and just download a Excel or CVS, whatever, CVX doc you can upload, and get all your customers' email addresses and send them like a happy holidays message, like maybe a family update, and thank them so much for being a customer this year, and you appreciate them so much, and say, you know, these are the groups I'm running in January. Would love like a very casual like invite at the end, and just thank everyone. Because honestly, like as Kelly, we both have said, like I'm like, I feel like a quarter of my sales at least are like old customers coming back, or like challenge, like with every new launch, I would say at least a quarter of my Success Club points are like past customers coming back to buy the challenge pack. Because I always say it's better to get the challenge pack. The VIP access is free with the challenge pack, with a completion pack or you know what I mean? So, and your past customers are like already huge fans of yours. So that's a great way to get them started. And remember to like throw in like, this is what, like one thing I need to work on is sharing more. I use all of our so many of our products, and I don't share them enough, even in my challenge group. So I'm trying to make an effort to like at least do a post in my challenge group saying like, this is what unless you want to know, if you want to know what I use, this is what I use. I use Energize, I use the bars, I use the collagen, I like do all these things, but I haven't done the best job of like encouraging people to try them. So. And the last question was about the monthly fix, which I have not done a lot of research on. I just know that it's a subscription that people get, they have to pay on addition to Ultimate Portion Fix. I just Googled it, and the FAQ says that there's like new recipes, meal plans, you get themed videos from Autumn. I think it's just like additional support through Ultimate Portion Fix. And I know that if you sell Ultimate Portion Fix Challenge Pack this month, you get the first month free. But I don't know, does anyone else know anything about it?
Like as a coach, Catherine, or as a challenger?
Both. I mean, I was just trying to figure out why you would add the subscription on top of it. Sometimes those groups are so big, it's hard to get, I don't know, it's hard to get a lot of support. I mean, I have a handful of people that bought, and I say handful, it's a small group of like 2B Mindset and Ultimate Portion Fix, and they like follow on social media those groups too. Not just the stuff that we do, but I was just curious if there's any big buzz or anything that anybody's heard, but it sounds kind of soft. It's kind of a soft launch. It doesn't seem like anything big.
Yeah, it does seem really soft because I haven't really heard about it.
Okay.
Yeah, it says live videos with Autumn will go deeper into the monthly theme or answer your questions on trending topics in health and nutrition. So it kind of sounds like those like coach groups that we used to have, or we have with a launch of a program.
Is this a good time to ask questions live?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know what chat you're reading them off of. Nicole and Kelly, I was watching your the call you did with, oh my gosh.
Oh, Danielle.
Danielle, thank you. And you were talking about it's something I've been working on, is building new connections and finding new people. My question is, if I go through and I find someone and I engage with them, I follow so many people now that I would never really see their stuff again. You know, like I set a timer for 20 minutes and I'll go through the people that I follow, but like them coming up again is slim to none. So do you track it some way, or are you just hoping that you pop up on their stuff more than once? Does that make sense?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't. So the only time like when I will track it is if I'm like, okay, I sent an invite to them. Like maybe it was just on Instagram, like, hey, thanks for following along my journey, and boom, sent them an invite. I will save it to my albums on Instagram, and then that way I know who I've invited. I don't do that with everyone, but with a lot of people I do. And do you know how to do that?
No, I saw that in one of the calls recently.
Okay.
And I tried to create an album.
Okay, so this is Kelly Scackle just popped up. So if I go to that flag,
okay.
So let's say I had just.
And that's a post.
Yeah, this is her post. I'm just on my feed.
Okay.
So
okay.
If I sent her a private message just now, and I would be like, okay, you know what? I want to remember her face and who she is. So I'm going to flag her and go here. And then it says save to collection. And then I've made a collection, and it says invited to CG, and then forming new.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
And then I have inspo biz too. And you know what? You can have your own stuff too. If you're like for me, I'm going to be doing baby girl room, and I'm probably going to be looking for like inspo for that. And I can save albums, not just for Beachbody, but this is just a way. So I'll show you something.
Organize it.
Let's say I'm like, okay, I'm sitting here on my power hour, and I'm like, who am I going to invite right now? Who do I need to follow up? Oh my God, I don't even know like my list, and who do I need to email? Like, do I go back through here? Like sometimes it feels overwhelming, right? If you feel like you haven't really gotten many bites yet. And so I will just go to invited to CG challenge group. Oops. Hold on, let me do it again. Click on invited to challenge group. And you have to go here on your main feed, right? Go to these 3 squares up top. If I could hit it, and you go to saved. There's a little like the same little symbol. You hit saved, and then it'll populate and show you all the 4 basically things that you've been saving. So for me, I like to go to invited to challenge group, and then I can look at everyone I've invited. And if I'm like, oh, where do I start? Hey, start here. And I will click on them and just be like, oh, I remember, gosh, I haven't followed up with her, and I invited her. let me see if I have any like past messages with her. I'll go to her, instant messenger, or I don't know what's called on Instagram. And I could be like, okay, what did we last talk about? And just start sending those invites again. If I'm forming people and I haven't invited them, those is like the people that you're talking about. Like, how do you know if you're engaging with people and you're forming them? How do you keep track of that? Well, I don't have time to do that for everyone that I'm liking and following. But if I am commenting on someone stuff and then all of a sudden they're commenting back on me, or I just notice they're watching me, then go to their main feed, click on one of their posts and make it an album of forming new prospects. And so for me, I've been doing that with people too, where I'm like, not only if I think they would be a good fit for my team, but also if I think they would, be a good fit for a challenge group or I've just started that like connection, and I'm like, I want to make sure that I don't lose track of them, because I'm like you, where I'm following now 4,000 people. And there are times where I know Kate does this for her brother's business, and a lot of us have done it. I haven't used it in a while. It's called Cleaner. Mm-hmm. Kate was saying, and actually I'm going to ask her, because she said it wasn't that difficult because she did it for her brother's business. And you just set like a timer, or you set it up where it'll start unfollowing people who aren't following you back.
Yeah. I've used that a couple of times. I heard that it was like getting people in trouble as a third party app, but then someone else said it was back. So I haven't used it, but I've been following a lot of people lately, and I need to clean it up. What I've been doing is I'll follow a bunch of people, and I don't even look at their profile right now. I'm just going to people's accounts, following as many of the people as I can, just going down. And if it says requested, I unfollow it so that I'm not actually following private people. And then I just follow a bunch of them, and then I go to my feed and I see who followed me back, and then I go engage with their posts. Then I take the time to engage with their posts if they decide to follow me.
That's a good idea.
Honestly, if I think they're a good coach, I save them to an album. If they'd be a coach, then I'll save them to an album called Coach Prospects that I made. But with challengers, I don't do that. I think that's too time consuming for the challenge side.
Okay, so my follow-up question, and since you guys do it differently, I think I do it more similar to Kelly, is so you're following anybody that's public, Nicole. That's what you said, right? You're not.
If someone's watching my stories and they're private, I will invite them to a challenge group, but I won't follow them because if they're not private, if they're not public, I feel like they don't want me to follow them. I don't know. That's the way I feel like it.
But you'll send them a message?
Yeah. If they're watching my stories
without seeing their stuff.
Like about coaching, or usually if they're private, I don't usually send a cold coaching invite because cold. It's warmish, right? They're watching my story. Right. But if they're watching my stories about challenge group and they watch through like a series of 4 things, me talking about challenge group, and they're private, I actually feel more comfortable sending them a message because I feel like they probably don't get as many invites because they're private, and like they're probably I asked a friend who's private, and Mike, my husband, who's private. It's like, how many like random people do you get messaging you? He's like, almost no one. So I'll either invite them or I'll send them a message and say, hey, thanks for following along. Are you a mom or a runner too, or do we have something else in common? That's what I say. And I get a lot of people writing back in like long paragraphs of why they decided to follow me.
Interesting. Yeah, because I feel like I'm having a hard time finding like legit people, because most people are private, and if they're not, they're generally, a lot of them are in some form of an MLM. They're not just like your average person.
Where are you going to find people then?
I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Am I going the wrong place? I'm going to similar people with similar interests and seeing what they liked.
There's like the Instagram pods and people, and we have some in Beachbody. And I've noticed though, if I go to like an influencer who I can tell uses a pod, I'll notice that a lot of their likes are from other influencers. And so I don't follow all of them because I'm like, they're all influencers just liking each other's stuff. Yeah. So I try to
I'll do like another Fire Wife and see what people liked.
Yeah.
Because but then most of those people are private, and that's my problem. Most of the people that would like the photo that a fellow Fire Wife
it has
posted,
to be like an influencer type Fire Wife, I think, or like someone who's sharing a lot, not like just a random girl.
Okay. I think I've been more local.
Or I had a decent amount of success finding like, I was surprised. I was following people back from like an account that was just a woman who was like a postpartum physical therapist or something, sharing postpartum stuff. And I started following a lot of women who were following that, and I got a decent amount. it seemed like that followed me back. I honestly don't track it because I just like I don't have time. But I've noticed that I'm starting to trend up now that I am taking the time to add followers, because for a while I was not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know from Julie Kemp, when she did our team call, she said like I don't know how many people she's following, but she said she would go to an account like
And just follow everyone.
Risen Motherhood or something, like, which it's a podcast that I like to listen to, and they have like over 100,000 followers on Instagram. So she'll go to one of their posts. Obviously, she has a lot in common probably with a lot of those women because it's very faith-based. And she just says she clicks on everyone and follows them. And I was shocked at that.
That's what I've been doing. That's what I'm saying. It's like, so I do it in my morning routine and it's so easy. And it's like, I checked it off the list. I just followed a bunch of people and like I'm growing from it. And it's like so meant. And like I said, once they follow me back, then I go engage.
Yeah.
So I'm developing the relationship then.
I think that's
instead of wasting my time commenting, scrolling, and like looking at, and I mean, I do think you'll have a higher follow back if you do if you do leave a good comment. But I also feel like I'm less likely to take the time to do that because of how labor intensive it is. And I get in my head about it more. And I've noticed that my coaches get in their head about it a lot more too. But that's what Jumper Media does. Like when the paid Instagram growth, they just basically follow people for you and then unfollow them. It's the same method. I'm just doing it manually. But not following.
I'm going to give you guys an example. I actually do that. I don't know why I said I didn't do that more than I do, but I'll go to someone's page. Okay. So this girl who is not a coach, but she's like a fitness influencer. She's not like a huge person. She has 17,000 followers. She's not a coach. She's a runner, shares fashion too. So if I go to like one of her latest posts, and I will just go to like everyone that's liked it. And I've already been doing this. I've already been following. I'll go down this and I'm following a lot of those people and they're following me back. So I'm just wondering, Nicole, because for me, this is why it does take me longer. It's like there are men on here that are following her. Are you?
Yeah, I don't follow men.
Okay. So you're not like, you are spending the time to make sure like you look at their profile.
I just look at their picture at least. I don't like go to their profile though. I just look at the picture. That's why I said like if I follow it and it says requested, then I unfollow and I unclick it. So I'm not like requesting to follow these strangers that are private. I'll follow people that are private if like they strike up a conversation with me and it's going well, then I'll go request to be private, them to follow them.
Yeah, and it's something where if you are just trying to grow and you just want more eyes on your stuff, this is a really good, I personally think, who cares if you're following a lot of people? If you feel like you're going to miss your friends and your family, then have a separate account where you can see just those people. And to me, I look at this like, if I'm able to grow a multi-six-figure business doing this, then I'm not going to freaking worry about, like, my good friends I'm going to see, and I will search for them anyway. But if I'm trying to, like, you're right, Jessica, like you're not always going to see those people pop up on your newsfeed if you're following a lot of people. But I've never had that problem of if they're engaging with me and I'm engaging back with them, those are the people I want anyway. And they're the people that are going to show up on your feed.
Yeah.
It's like,
okay, I'm annoying.
No, go ahead.
Another question. I'm working on trying to speak more about coaching and inviting to coaching consistently. I think I struggle because I don't know, like you were saying, the challenge group is until January, so we're kind of hesitant, like we don't have anything directly to invite them to. When it comes to coaching, I don't really know what I'm inviting to. Like I don't, because don't have any working coaches. I don't even know what I want to tell them.
So I've gone a few different ways right now because I'm doing the Instagram info session. We leave it up. I invite people, like I say, like I do a general invite, like, have you ever thought about doing what I do? And then if they're interested, I like talk to them and ask them, like, get to know them. Like, what are they doing for work now? Are they home, mom? Like, how old are their kids? Have they done Beachbody before? And then I'll say, you know what, if you want to learn more, I'll add you to our coach info session. The video is already up or it's coming up. For a while I was sending that 10-minute Vimeo video and I had the Vimeo video that explains what coaching is in a nutshell. It's 10 minutes and I've signed up coaches who have watched that as their initial. To me, I just feel like it's a little cheesy. If you're not familiar with Beachbody, it explains what Beachbody is, but it makes it's like shows some clips from the infomercials and stuff. And that's never, if you guys follow me, that's not my style in general. But I do think you need to send them to the idea is that you send the invitation, but you don't do the presentation. So this mentor, Bob Heilig, that I've gone through his course this year, it's like when someone just makes a decision to become a coach, they need to see themselves doing what you're doing. So if you overcomplicate it and you make yourself the expert and you're like, hey, do you want to do what I do? And then you launch into this long spiel. And then you say, do you want to get on the phone? And you're like explaining all these details. They're like, oh man, like this is super complicated. I don't know if I could do what she does. But if you say like, hey, do you want to do, if you're interested, and then you just get to know them a little bit and you figure out what their pain points are. And then you send them to a third-party tool, which he calls like a presentation or a third-party tool. Then they're able to like consume that and think, oh, I could send someone to this tool myself. So even though the info session does have like me in it, it's still considered a third-party tool because it's like somewhere they can go to consume information that's not like just me talking to them about it. You don't want to make yourself like intimidating expert. And that kind of even goes, he says, like, even from the point of like the customer initiation of becoming a customer with you, if you make it too complex, they can also feel like it's too like they can't see themselves doing what you're doing. So using third-party tools for your customer process, even like the videos, which I don't actually use, but I do use. That's why actually I've gone back to using the email, like directing people. Once I'm having a conversation about a challenge group, I like to direct them to the email, which is like a template basically that I can share with my coaches, and then they can use the template. Basically, this is more simple you can make coaching seem, the better success you're going to have is the long story.
And so like you and Kim have created like your separate pages, and that's what you're inviting people to go follow. And then you're posting stuff about coaching stuff on there. Yeah. But you have yourself and your coaches. Yeah. Kim is just herself, right?
You could add people to, like, the videos are all up from last month in our Facebook group. That's what I used to do, is that Facebook group that we all would do videos in. Like, you can send people to that. You could even record yourself doing a 10-minute video explaining coaching, and that would be better than you than you individually telling them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've considered doing that.
Okay. So something I want to say too is keep it simple, like Nicole said, and keeping it simple can be depending on what you are doing as a sneak peek. So if you're not doing an Instagram sneak peek, or you're not going to be doing the team one, like we put our calendar on our team page.
Yeah.
Now it's visible. So we were getting feedback like, where do I find this? I never know where to find the calendars. So now we're putting our monthly calendar as the cover photo on our team page. So it'll say team sneak peek 12/12. So every month you should write that down of like, this is the sneak peek. This is what I should be inviting people to. And tell me, hey, I want to be a speaker. Is there a way that I can be a speaker? And because maybe that gets you more motivated to invite more people. And if you're not doing it, let's say like, oh wait, we already have 3 or 4 people talking on it, then I would be like, you know what? All right, I don't know what that noise is. Did you hear that? Okay, sorry, Adriana, I had to mute you. It was like fuzziness. But I am going to consider doing the Instagram one just to kind of, because this is what I heard. I said, or someone was saying, if most of your audience is on Instagram, like Jess, you weren't on Facebook before, you don't like Facebook, then you're probably attracting people that are mainly on Instagram. So why would you want them to go to Facebook when it's like, hey, let's just deliver the sneak peek, or, have them click on something where it can take them to a page, like what Nicole and Kim has done. So I believe Nicole has the outline of like what she does, and you can even go to her page and just kind of see how her and a couple of her coaches are doing it. And we can consider doing that next month too.
Yeah, I would recommend like teaming up with a few other people and doing your own and doing it. And like, I've even heard like, that's what we switched it up this month, and we tell our stories in the stories now. Like we tell our coaching story, and then like the main feed is just like we could dive into the topic. And like, I've heard like, make your sneak peek what you're attracting you. So how do you like to consume media? Do you like to watch videos? Like, is your attention span short? Like Christina Delgado says, she's still really into, like, she thinks people's attention spans are so short that she's really into the call, like what we're doing now. Like, we used to do that. Tuesday night at 8 p.m., everyone get on, or 6 p.m. or whatever, everyone get on a call and we'll just do our spiel in an hour and they'll have their decision, they'll have all the information. Whereas right now I have it spread out so that people are like, I'll pop up in their stories for the next 3 days. And that's how I'm more likely to consume. I wouldn't be as likely to go on a call. If someone invited me at 8 o'clock, that would be like a big commitment. I'd be more likely to I'm not, despite what you might think, I'm not the type to I don't like to make appointments. And so for me, I would be more likely to go to an account, follow along, watch their stories, watch their videos.
Yeah. And one thing I do recommend all of you guys to do if you haven't yet, and I can't tell you how many times I've used it, and I just went to my YouTube to see how many have watched it, and it's been 53 views. And it just says titled Kelly's Beachbody Story, and it's almost 9 minutes long. And I probably should update it because it was a year ago. But I basically you can go on Zoom, like what we're on now, create an account, free account. And that's how I film myself and upload it to YouTube. And no one has to be on the meeting with you, but you can practice in front of the camera and then you can oh wait, I didn't do that right. But I think you need to just be vulnerable and share what your story is. And if you don't know your story and you're like, well, I don't really know, then that is on you. You need to dig deep and figure out, for me, it's changed. When the first 2 years was I'm doing this for fun. It's a great hobby, extra money. Why not? And then it turned into something bigger. And now my story is more of, I want to build a big business. I'm ready to, I want to take it larger. I've already been able to match my corporate income. I'm not wanting to leave my corporate job anymore, which was such a huge purpose and why for me. So now it's changed, but I can still use that as my story. And so when I've sent this to people, for example, if I have a girl, it happens a lot where she's like, I'm really interested in coaching. Can you share more about it with me? I will give her a little blurb and I just say, well, ask some questions first. What intrigues you the most? Instead of you doing all the talking, maybe find out what it is that they love. And once you know that they're like, well, I don't know, it just kind of seems like you guys have a good community, or maybe it sounds like it's keeping you accountable, or maybe it's, hey, I noticed that you're a stay-at-home mom and you're actually making some extra money on the side. I wouldn't mind doing that too because I'm home with my kids and I love fitness. So then you kind of know, oh, awesome. I'm going to spin it that way and give her maybe focus more on that kind of information of yeah, that's why I do this. It's a great outlet. I love being a mom, but I needed something for me. And it's not an option for me to go into a corporate job, with my husband's schedule. And that's something that you have to share, hopefully within 10 minutes, keep it short, keep it brief. And then what you can do is just share your link from your YouTube and you can just share it to someone and say, you know what, listen to my story and I could share more about it. Or if you have questions, let me know. Because I don't think you need to get into that all well, this is how you make money. And this is exactly how, I think it's so simple what we do. We pick a program, we stick to it, we sprinkle it, we share it with friends and family. And if you want, you share it on social media. And it's just a matter of staying accountable to your own health and you invite others to join you. It's as simple as that. There's no, yes, of course you can get into, if they're like, well, I want to know exactly how you make money. Well, yeah, of course. And you can send them more information on that. But I don't think people really need that before they sign up. At least from my experience, people are just wanting something else. And they're like, well, I know you're making money, so why not work on my own journey? And I'm already doing what you do as a coach, Kelly, but I'm doing it for free. I just don't invite people. So we're always changing.
That was dead on. You should definitely practice your story and record it and then share it with people. I did an IGTV with my story. And would I have done that? I did that yesterday. Would I have done that when I first started coaching and had the guts to do it? Probably not. But I've said my story so many times now that I'm like, this is what it is. This is my story. It wasn't perfect. I didn't one take and uploaded it. And I was like,
yeah, and yours was great. What you did on Instagram and posted it, it was good. I was listening to it, And I think you kept it short and sweet, but you kept it so it was like you were high energy, and and that's what the thing, you guys, is like, what we do is simple, and we can overcomplicate it. So if you do feel like it seems like, oh my God, there's so much information and there's so many things I need to learn and watch. Well, it's like, break it down to what you really feel like you're lacking and what you need to learn. And that's what you dive into. You don't need to listen to every single training that we share on our team page. Like that Carl call, I listened to 5 minutes and I was like, like, even though he's our CEO, I'm not going to waste an hour of my time of him being like, rah, 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 this is why you need to invite more people. I'm like, love you, Carl, but no.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Yeah, not motivated.
That's not what I needed. And I think sometimes the longer that you've been in this business, you guys, hopefully, because a lot of you guys have been doing this for a year, coming up on a year, or longer, I think that you start realizing, like, okay, things start clicking. Things start, like, you start figuring out your own way and what works for you. Like Tammy, I feel like Tammy has gotten in a groove this last year too, with like what she loves, right? Like she loves like her Instagram, like she works really hard on it. She's really grown and like evaluates it a lot and how to improve. That is it's like art to her. She loves doing that and she's gotten great at it. So for me, I'm like, how do you have so much time to do that? But it's fast for her. It's like, what? No, all I do is and it's done. So, but for me, I'm different from that because I'm more simple and I don't add a lot of flair to my stuff. And that's okay. It just shows you that there's so many different ways, you guys, that you can talk about coaching, that you can, invite and do Instagram and stories. Like there's no right or wrong way to do it. But I do think, and I challenge all of us, in fact, I'm going to challenge myself to make a new video because when I'm looking at it now, it says 1 year ago. My story is changed, and practice, have some bullet points. And I think that should be something that because it'll help you too have confidence when someone's like, I want to know what you're doing. Be like, you know what? Listen to this quick video.
I honestly think even sharing your story makes you believe in coaching more. Like that's what I noticed when I asked my personally sponsored Emeralds to step up and do an info session with me. And like, they all were like, oh my God, that was so out of my comfort zone, but I did it. And it like, I could feel like this enthusiasm from them. Like they were like so motivated after they shared their story. Cause they were like, yeah, this has changed my life. Even if like I shared on the call, I had this block for so long. Cause I was like, I just had this thing. I'm not making enough money. Like I'm not making as much, like I can't be a real coach until I'm making X, Y, Z. And it's like, it's changed your life in so many ways. And you need to be excited about that no matter what you're doing. And remember that sharing your vision with where you're going, that's something that I need to work on too. And I've been putting it in my more is super important too. Like just because you're not where you want to be, you're not maybe at your full-time income, or you're not whatever it is, maybe you don't even want to make a full-time income, where you want to be with it, share that with people. This is where I'm going. Come watch me. People love I love a journey, right? Like when I was training to try to qualify for Boston, I feel like people being like, is she going to do it? Is she not? Is she going to do it? Is she not? Like, that's like whatever goal you have for next year, be like, this is my goal. Watch me do it. And then people are gonna be like, is she going to do it? Is she not? And then, that's like the anticipation. It's the story. That's what all movies are made on. The end of a movie, like they don't pan to like the person at the top of Mount Everest in the first scene. And they're like, oh, they made it to the top. And then they tell the story. It's like, no, the story is you getting to where you're going with coaching. So tell people where you're going and then show them where you're going. And that'll keep you accountable too, I think. I did that like bravely on my blog this year. Like in January, I said, I'm going to be an elite coach. Who knows if anyone read that blog and is like, she's not, but here we go. I'm on my way. So I think Kelly, you could do a better job of that too.
Yeah. I didn't talk about, you guys, a lot of the income and not like being like, oh, this is what I'm making, but I didn't share, like Nicole would be like, Kelly, you need to talk about this more. Like, that's amazing. And
that's what I want, right? So I always see her and I'm like, you make a full-time income on part-time hours. That's the phrase I've been using now that I can say it, because that's what I want. So maybe it's not what you want. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, but you're right. So what I would say that I love seeing with newer coaches, and even some of the top coaches are like, I am not relatable anymore. So I have to go back to the days of when I started. I would talk about how I just wanted to like get a mani-pedi, and that would pay for, like, my coaching would pay for my mani-pedi, because my husband was always like, oh, that's a waste of money. But that was, like, as stupid as it is, like, that was something that I wanted. And then once it became my mani-pedi, then it was like, oh, I'm going to pay my phone bill. Oh, I'm going to pay this, my grocery bill. And it's like, if you have to think of someone on the other side of the screen who might be watching you, who is sitting there going, well, yeah, maybe that, like, that to me is a lot to my family, like, to pay for our groceries for the month. That's actually pretty darn cool. Like, I'm not bringing in income whatsoever. And you're doing that by just sharing your journey and keeping in shape and being in an awesome community. Like, sign me up. Or it's paying for your wine, or your, like, you know me, like, when you think about it, it's like, you got to talk where you are now, because that's who are going to relate to you. And you don't have to pretend like, oh, you're this top coach or you're making XYZ, but share, like, I am just in shock that by being a coach, by just showing up for myself and sharing it with you guys, that I was able to pay for my kids' extracurricular activities this month. Or, you know, like, you just have to be able to talk about that and share it in different ways. And maybe if you don't feel comfortable talking about it, have it so at least it's in your story on YouTube and you can share it to other people. And it does get you excited about this too. Like, yeah, maybe I'm not where I want to be. Like, darn it, why am I not up here? Like, I thought I was going to be here by this time last year and I'm not there. Well, guess what? That's more fire that should be in you to start the new year and being like, how can I talk about coaching more? How can I attract the people that I want into this business? You need to find the other Kellys out there. Like, that's how I thought. I was always like, I need to find the other Kellys out there. And like, I don't get a ton of people that rush to me because of my story, but I do get people who are listening and they, you know, they end up joining me and being like, okay, I want to learn more. I'm interested, like, your story is how I feel. And I'm like, wow, maybe I got one person out of that post or that story sequence I did, but that's one person that wants to work the business and join forces with you. Like, that's all it takes, you guys. So if you're doing that consistently and you're being, I don't know, like, authentic and fearless, then yeah. Sorry, I think I get passionate about it because I know coaching is hard to talk about. The fitness side is so easy to do. We love it. It's like, we feel like people are just ding dongs for not getting the All Access Challenge back. Like, it's just a no brainer. So we can talk about that all day long. We love it. But the coaching side, we're like, oh, how would I talk about that? Like, would anyone want to do what I do? I don't know. It's like, no, you got to have belief in what we do, because when you break it down, it's simple, it's easy, and it's fun. And has it helped you stay more accountable? Has it helped you lose weight? Has it helped you stay more consistent? Has it given you friendships? Has it given you an extra side income? Like, when you think about all those things, then you're like, yeah, of course. Why would I share it then?
Yeah.
So we had a really great power hour.
I was going to say, going to Summit is like, I feel like that's where you have those breakthroughs. And I don't think it's because of all the stuff you learn at Summit. I think it's because you go and you're like, why isn't everyone here with us? It's so awesome. Like, I know for me, every time I go to Summit, I'm just like more motivated to share coaching, because I'm like, it's just so fun.
Yeah. And I would honestly challenge you guys to write that list when we get off tonight of what coaching has done for you. And it doesn't need to be long, just bullet points, like, got to be in shape. I lost XYZ. I have more confidence. I've gained friendships. I'm like, I show up when I normally wouldn't show up. Something like that, where those are all things that it's helped you do. And then hopefully you can look at that and be like, this is stuff I need to sprinkle into my stories or into my posts. And it'll get you excited about wanting to share it with other people. That's how I started last year. I was like, I can't wait to bring more people into this. I'm ready to have a fresh start. I lost a couple of my diamonds the prior year. It was a rough year, but I didn't let that stop me. You know, there were people that needed to leave. They weren't good for the team morale, and they were like taking the energy out of me. You're going to lose people in this business. Not everyone's going to stick, but you got to, you know, always bring in new blood and always have belief in yourself. Does anyone else have any questions? I know it's 9, but.
I have a question. So this one doesn't have anything to do with coaching, but I'm just trying to figure out how to like work within the launches, but then people ask questions about the regular programs and then they're like, oh, well, you recommended this program before. And then 2 months later, they're like, oh, well, I really want to do the launch, but is that the best program? Because you recommended this one. So like I've been using your email script. And so, you know, I changed it a bit, but I send out a couple programs after they've answered questions. And so several of them have come when the work came out, when Morning Meltdown came out, now Bar's coming out. And they're like, well, is this the best program for me? Just like, the best program is the one you do.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just didn't know if you changed your email or you kept it the same, but then told them about something new. I was just trying to figure out a system. So
really quick, I'll tell you what I told my new coach who just announced and invited last night. She was like, I got people that are interested. What email do I send? What information do I send them? And I was like, well, one, I know it's overwhelming at first because it's true. We do have early access to the work. Do they want that? We have early access for Bar, or we just have the general all access basic package, right? So in my opinion, before you say like, this is the best program for you and, oh, the work is amazing, you got to do that. I think, and this is what I've been doing, is you just got to ask them a few questions before you load them on like a bunch of information. So in my opinion, I just say, well, what do you currently do now? I go to Orange Theory and I run. Oh, you're going to love the work. So I will actually send them, you know, info on the all access and then info. I think you would really enjoy the work program. Here's the video of it. Let me know what you think. I don't make it too wordy. I just want that. And I'll also send them like maybe one other one. If they're really into strength training and running, then Lift 4 is a great one. So I always go off of what I think they enjoy. If they're like, well, I haven't worked out in a while, I'm so bad, I need to get back into it, that's why I'm coming to you, I would say, okay, well, we have a couple options. All access includes the 21-day fix, send them a video of that. And then also the new program Bar, because that might be a good intro for people as well. Even though it's not going to be easy, I think it's going to be harder than we think, but they have different modifiers. So
okay. That's what I've been doing. I just wanted to make sure I was on the right track.
I've been doing that as well because I don't have a ton of like intense workout followers. So I'm in my emails, even though I'm saying Bar, I still think because it's a 60-day program, that's kind of long for beginners. So I'm still saying I started with 21-day fix. I think that would be like for, you know, beginners are wanting to get back into the routine, because I think that finishing 21 days is still such an accomplishment that potentially a 60-day program, just like Morning Meltdown 100, we saw a lot of people kind of fall off because it's a long program to start with. So I put both in there, but I'm now that it's challenge packs on sale, I'm doing Bar, but I'm also saying there's all these other workout programs too, because they are getting most of them except for the work. So anyway,
it's really cool to be in a group that's all doing Bar together. So like we'll have if you want to add people, we're a group that's doing it. We'll have several groups, I think, because everyone's going to be doing that. But because with Morning Meltdown, I had some people I was shocked that wanted to do it from the beginning, and they finished it and it like changed their life because it was 100 days. Like the people who did finish it, who were my new people, like I had 3 and I can think of like that were like went all in, but I know I had a bunch of people who started and fell off too. I do think 21-day fix is the easy win, but I also find that when I offer 21-day fix first, I often find people have already done it and they're like, I already have those DVDs. And I'm like, so I've actually steered away from offering it first as much, because then it's like, you know, they're like, well, I already have the DVDs. Can I just join? And I'm like, well, it's like this real-time version now. And they're like, I don't know.
So I guess that's my question for you guys, because now I like offering, I'm thankful that they finally did a 21-day program with the containers, because I think that's like the best starter kit. So it's hard for me as like a coach, like for example, signing up with Bar and no, they didn't get containers. And it's like, oh, I know you can add them on and whatnot. So I do like the package with the containers, so I still continue to offer that. But I feel like it's like with the newer programs, if they're beginners, it's like missing a piece. And I think, so anyway.
Yeah, I always just add it and I say, especially if they told me that they're struggling with their nutrition, I say, hey, for $10 more, I'm adding the containers, which I think is so crucial. I just don't want you to realize you wanted them and want to buy them later and pay for the shipping. Is that okay?
Okay.
Because I agree. They should all have the freaking containers.
I also recently had something similar to that, Rose, where there was someone who had the DVDs and she'd done it for years. She just recently went to the doctor, high blood pressure, on medication, had this whole come to Jesus moment. And she's like, I've been following you for the last 9 months and I'm in. And so I set her up on the digital package, which she didn't have. She had the DVDs because that gave her access to the whole library, that gave us the opportunity to play with yoga and PiYo, and she's just getting back into things. So I don't even know exactly where she's at. And I basically didn't even give her a choice. I put in her cart the 3-day refresh. And so you're going to start with that. And then you're going to get these containers going, and you might need another set. And here's your package. And we're going to start here. And it ended up being like 3 or 4 things. I said, if you really hate it, you can take it out, but this is what I would recommend for you to kickstart this. And you don't have to do it like right this second, but get it and we'll walk you through it. We'll walk you through the 3-day refresh. We'll pick a program for you to start working on. We'll get you into the group. And she's been really funny. She's been sending me texts when things come in the mail and, like, this shit's getting real. And so, I mean, I think she's excited, but at the same time, like, it's been slow for me personally. I'm still really new at it. And like, I hit like a home run right out of the gate, and I had the warm market just jumped in. And then now all these people who have been watching for a while are kind of trickling in, but they're not like gushing in, but I have a little bit more, experience with the product. So it was easy to bring her in on kind of a basic level with just the subscription and a refresh as a way to like, here's your program, here's what we're going to do, and here's how we're going to work through this. And that was helpful. I've only had that happen now 2 times, but it's the thing that's worked the most in the last 2 months for me.
I was actually going to ask you, because you show up on our volume boards a lot in the top. So like, are you selling a lot?
Yeah, I do. I sell a lot. And my people, the people that buy from me have, I think who talked about it? I think it was you, Nicole. Your client has upper middle class income, right? My clients have a ton of money and they can spend money like crazy. They'll spend $300 a month on product and bars and collagen and this, that, and the other. So like, I sell volume. I sell a ton of volume, but like getting new people signed up right now has been a little different. I've also signed up or helped coaches sign up other coaches in the last month. So like a lot of my attention has been there. So I have taken my eye off of the challenge group piece a little bit. And that's on me. I mean, I take full responsibility for that. And I'm not making excuses for it, but I can fully attribute why the challenge group sales are down, because I'm not focusing on that as much.
Okay.
So, but yeah, my people buy stuff. They buy a ton of stuff.
Yeah. That's
yeah, a big reason me and Kelly and you see a lot of same people on the volume board is because we get recurring, I don't know, I can't speak for Kelly, but I get a lot of recurring sales. So it's not always me like crushing it with challenge packs every single time.
Yeah. And I sell a ton of Energize. I mean, I have the personal trainer that I used to work with all the time. He's buying it from me now. And I'm like, okay, when are you going to like go ahead and just open up your coach account and sell this to all your people? Like, it's coming. It's not there yet, but like he's reordered from me now 2 or 3 times, and he's added to his order each time. So
why aren't you signing these people up as discount coaches?
What's that?
Why aren't you signing them up as discount coaches?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, but I can't get him to say yes to that. I mean, I can sell him boxes, him to himself, but as far as like what I would like him to do is hand out samples of his boxes and then sell those in his place and he would be a discount coach, right? That's what you're saying, correct?
Yeah, discount coaches, like I enroll people just if they're on Shakeology and they want a discount.
Yeah.
Then I enroll them. So
I know.
People will be saving a lot of money, but they don't care.
I think it's easier with Shakeology than Energize, because Energize isn't quite as high as a price point as Shakeology is. and there's still the $15.95 fee each month, and it comes as a separate charge. It's not a like, here's your Shakeology, $130, and we'll take $15.95 off of it, and now your shakes are 100 and whatever, right? It's like your shakes are 97, and here's an additional charge for $15.95. So there are some people, I have some people who are like, what? That's a little weird. So if your price point of your Energize is $50 and you're spending $15 on top of that, you know, if you're selling a lot of Energize, then it doesn't matter, right? If you're just buying it, it kind of doesn't have.
For the people who and I know we got to get off, but in that case, I'd be like, you need to try some of their other products. Why not Hydrate? Why not Recover? Because if he is already totally on board with Energize, he loves it, that's when it's so much easier to be like, well, can I add the bars, or can I add Hydrate? And then all of a sudden their bill, or, you know, their monthly shipment ends up being $120.
Yeah, that's the plan. We're working on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm there.
In general, to you guys, like, just know, like, I'm working with a few people right now who already had Shakeology. They have plenty. They want to get bar, and they don't want to do a challenge pack. But I am showing the differences of, okay, you can pay this amount for bar and Energize, because they want Energize. And it's not that much more to just do a completion pack, which is adding Recover along with Energize and the bar. So I'm always trying to get Success Club points through it. And I truly do believe that these people should have these products. So, because I use them. So I'm always doing that. I'm always trying to find a way of how I can get it to a completion pack or challenge pack. If it's not the shakes, well, then you're going to do this. And that's how you get in my group. So
yeah, and I actually had a question. I think it's for you, Jessica, and I know we need to go, but you put up in one of our groups about Energize being endorsed by Ironman. Where was that? I want to find that. That's actually really helpful. Is that in our FAQs? Is that somewhere?
That is from a drafted post that I did not create.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So from Beachbody?
So,
from one of theirs?
But it was from Beachbody. I saw it on their blog.
Okay. That's helpful.
It's somewhere because it is true. I've heard Melissa Maid talk about it.
Okay. There was another coach that came on recently. I watched it. I can't even remember where I saw it. And she was talking about the holidays and like gift packs, and make sure you gift what you sell. So like teacher gifts, Energize bars, all that kind of stuff.
That's true. Yeah. Why not just throw it in there?
And all of you with kids who are doing sports, my kids are older and, you know, I got college now, but like sports, Hydrate and bars and Sunshine, going to the team mom and saying, hey, why don't we, you know, feed our kids Sunshine and bars and Hydrate as opposed to Gatorade and all the other things. I mean, I'm past that with most of my kids, but you guys a lot of you are just beginning to launch into that. So that was a really great idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Holidays, gift it, right? Like, give a gift, put your name on a label and say, call me if you want more of these. It doesn't have to be fancy.
All right, guys, I'm going to end the recording so people don't go, oh, it's too long for me to watch.